Covering the islands of the Bahamas, ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight.
The following portion of the news is brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Good evening and welcome to The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. I'm Keishel Adderley. Thanks for joining us. The cable and wireless talks are on hold until the new year, but we're learning more about the tenor of those talks and what one member of the negotiating team says are details of the sale which may surprise Bahamians. In this report, Janaea Noel Ferguson also tells us why that team member told Cable and Wireless there's an opportunity for a win-win within the government's pursuit of regaining majority shares.
Franklin Wilson leads negotiations with Cable and Wireless on the government's promise to take back the majority of share in the nation's telecommunications company, BTC. And today he says they're not giving up on the issue just yet.
We are not to the point where we are saying it's useless. They have not told us that. And the whole idea of meeting again reflects the fact that you still see there's value in meeting. The fact that you've not yet changed positions doesn't say that, look, it's failed. It's let's meet again.
He believes Cable and Wireless can achieve sustainable value for their shareholders, even if they hold minority shares. This is something, he says, the committee is trying to convince them of. And although the majority of shares in BTC was bought for some $210 million back in 2010, Mr. Wilson says discussions on a price have not come up as yet.
The answer is no.
No dollar value.
No dollar value, because the principle has not been accepted. See, short and beyond someone saying to you, anything's for sale at a price. That's, you follow me? You have to get beyond that. They see some corporate policy issues that they are struggling.
In the meantime, Mr. Wilson said some serious details will be revealed on the sale of BTC that took place under the former administration.
Fullness of time, the Bahamian public will be told the full story about this transaction. There's going to be a lot of opportunity for the Bahamian public to judge this transaction in ways which, based on what we see, will not make any number of people very proud as to what they did. More and more evidence will be brought to bear where what happened was not in the national interest.
Prime Minister Perry Christie recently held talks with telecommunications giant in the region, Digicel.
It never was intended to be a threat.
But they may have read
Well, let's put it this way. The fact of the matter is, we are doing all we can to let it be known that we respect the rule of law.
Janaea Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
And if those talks do result in any change in position, Mr. Wilson told us it won't cost taxpayers anything, as the committee isn't being paid to conduct negotiations on behalf of the government. A group of gambling proponents has organized itself and a campaign in the lead up to the January 28th referendum on gaming. They're calling themselves Vote YES Bahamas, though they have no affiliation with web shops. But the group of private citizens says it's time for the Bahamas to finally benefit from the millions in profits the underground industry has been generating for decades. Former parliamentarian Teresa Moxie Ingram is the lead spokesman for the group.
I do not see any conclusive data that introduction of gaming or legalizing of gaming results in any major social disruption in any of the jurisdictions where gaming is legalized. In our own environment, even with the way it is now, we do not hear any reports of major violent activity, of gang activity, disorderly conduct. We don't hear any of those things today within the industry that is operated by our locals. In fact, you will probably note that around the world, gaming is one of the best regulated, most secure industries around the world. It has to be. You're dealing with money.
An off-duty police officer shot and killed a man who tried to rob him overnight, according to police reports. According to police, around 8:45 last night, the officer was about to enter his vehicle after visiting relatives at Ruperdine Lane when a male suspect armed with an automatic weapon approached him, demanding money and the keys to his vehicle. That's when the officer pulled out a weapon and shot the suspect, who died at the scene. Police say they recovered an automatic weapon from the deceased. Police Commissioner Allison Greenslade gave this comment today.
Unfortunate incident last night in the General Baintown area where a young man lost his life. Because of the respect that I must proffer to the family of the victim, I simply say that unfortunate, but if you brandish a weapon and you confront a police officer, there is a good chance that you're going to have problems and you could lose your life. Very unfortunate.
Now, the officer involved in that shooting was taken in for questioning in accordance with protocol. His weapon was collected as the Central Detective Unit conducts a complete investigation. It's likely the case could be turned over to the coroner, who also visited that scene last evening. A 41-year-old man was killed in an early morning traffic accident today. The man died at the scene after being ejected from his vehicle after a collision with a car on John F. Kennedy Drive near Lake Nancy. The accident happened just after 5 o'clock this morning. We spoke with investigators at that scene.
Is that there were 3 vehicles traveling in very dense fog along JFK Drive when one of the 3 vehicles that was in queue attempted to overtake 2 vehicles, and in so doing, the driver of that vehicle lost control, colliding with a black and gold Ford pickup truck. Consequently, the pickup truck, the driver lost control, it flipped, and he was ejected from the vehicle. This individual was attended to by personnel from the Emergency Medical Services of Princess Margaret Hospital. Consequently, en route to the hospital, he succumbed to injuries received on scene.
Now, the death marks the 44th traffic fatality this year and is one of a series to take place in the last several days. Superintendent Strawn says it's not clear if any charges will be brought against the surviving driver. The committee appointed to look into the establishment of a family court submitted its recommendations to the Attorney General this morning. The Family Court System Committee, chaired by former Justice Ruby Nottage, was responsible for setting out a plan for the court's implementation and making recommendations as to where the court should be located. After determining that the current site at Victoria Gardens and the Magistrates Court on Nassau Street were both determined inappropriate. Mrs. Nottage says the committee discovered that the renovation of the top floor of the Town Center Mall can create an excellent arena for such a court.
It was one of our desires to find something, one that was set apart from the center of town, but yet within walking distance, jitney access, parking, comfortable and safe for children, and also with all of the security amenities that we would want without having to build it ourselves. I mean, I don't know that we were being asked to suggest building. So we had to find a structure that had all of that people living in, let's say, the Bain, Grantstown, Centerville, Go South communities could walk to, or could take a jitney to.
Now, the plan proposes a juvenile court, a Supreme Court, and 2 magistrates' courts. Additionally, a registry and space for a court-martial and section for social services are also included in the plan. Attorney General Allison Maynard Gibson thanked the committee for its work and noted that the report will be submitted to Cabinet immediately. Prime Minister Perry Christie and National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage met today with the senior command of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. During the meeting at the police headquarters, the Prime Minister sought to evaluate the force's plan for the new year and review what changes need to be made amidst a lingering crime wave. He told ZNS News today he's committed to ensuring that the force is equipped to carry out its mandate.
We really want to continue with introducing new programs that we promised during the general elections, and I thought this would be the right time for me to speak with the senior command of the police force, where they are able to hear me and I'm able to listen to them. So really I expect a very frank exchange and a strong assessment. But the statistics and the responses of the police force is entirely in the command of the Commissioner of Police. We don't control that. We believe in being forthright with the Bahamian public. We believe in giving all of the indications. But the mere thought of trying to color the statistics or dishonestly present the statistics, that's not happening.
Meantime, Police Commissioner Allison Greenslade has issued this warning to the criminal element this holiday season.
But we say to our citizens that we wish to have a peaceful and a safe holiday season. Persons in the country who brandish weapons of any description and attempt to create disorder in society are going to find themselves in trouble with the law. We have officers out in goodly numbers all across New Providence, Grand Bahama, and the Family of Islands. I said before that I am leading from my office that particular charge to be visible across the country. And we made the appeal again for our people to go about their business, to seek gainful employment, and to do something productive this holiday season.
Well, still to come, a big day for urban renewal. We'll tell you why coming up.